Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Throne of Steel episode number 197 based on novel. So let's start. However, she finally came to Hao Chen 5 years later. She almost had to be separated from him forever. And now that she got to meet him again, it felt like a lifetime she hadn't seen him. In the eyes of Hao Chen, Yu Yi had not changed much, but in her eyes, Hao Chen had changed tremendously. He was more dignified, noble and more mature than before. The immaturity had disappeared. Just by standing there, Hao Chen gave people a feeling of himself being the core of heaven and earth. It was this human being, who was not yet 30 years old, but had become a serious threat for the god of devils. All of a sudden, Yu Yi felt a little proud. She fell in love with a man who was so extraordinary. Kia unwittingly came to Hao Chen's side. She had no other expression, just stood there quietly, staring at Yu Yi. Yu Yi that gazed at Hao Chen finally came to her senses, and then a touch of sadness spread quietly in the bottom of her heart. Of course, she knew that there would never be a real intersection between herself and him. She took a deep breath to calm her mood before her eyes became firm. Hao Chen, are you still willing to trust me? Before Hao Chen opened his mouth, Maxian on one side whispered, how can we trust you? If it hadn't been for your news, how could we have fallen into the trap of the god of devils? If it hadn't been for luck, we would have been wiped out. Yu Yi nodded silently. Yes, both you and I were victims of the god of devils' plan. If you want revenge, then go ahead. Hao Chen, you have two choices now. One is to kill me and avenge what happened last time, and the other is to trust me again. Yu Yi was looking at Hao Chen, but Hao Chen was not looking at her. He had never doubted Yu Yi in his heart, but this suspicion was not profound. After the resurrection, Hao Chen had carefully deliberated the process of falling into the trap of the god of devils at that time, which made him felt very strange, because he could not imagine how the god of devils calculated that he was bound to be in the devil's capital. As for Yu Yi, she had no idea that she and her friends would be there before she went to Modru. And after communicating with her, the god of devils soon took action. At that time, in their understanding, the god of devils was still far outside Yulongguan. Even if Yu Yi wanted to notify god of devils, it was absolutely too late. Therefore, Hao Chen did not suspect that Yu Yi was deceiving him, but he could only say that Yu Yi was kept in the dark by the god of devils. If you have anything to say, just say it. Hao Chen said faintly, but he neither showed if he continued to believe in Yu Yi, nor did he blame her for what happened last time. Yu Yi looked at the more mature Hao Chen and said, regarding what happened last time, you must feel very strange. Are you wondering why the god of devils has such an accurate grasp of your whereabouts? I can tell you the answer now. It was because of the great prophecy of the Star Devil God. The great prophecy of the Star Devil God not only predicted that you will pose a great threat to the future of the Devil's clan, but also predicted that it is the only chance to kill you, and even he can see the method and process of dealing with you through the great prophecy. He figured out when you are bound to appear in the Star Devil Tower. And all that the god of devils did before was to let your guard down. And this matter, only the god of devils and the Star Devil God know the specific situation, even my father did not know. Hao understood something, then he nodded and said, I see. No wonder. Seeing Hao Chen start to believe her, Yu Yi was slightly relieved. Remember the cooperation I proposed? Now you are the president of the Temple Federation, and you have a greater say in mankind. I am here to continue to fulfill our cooperation. Hao Chen said, so, do you think we can defeat the Devil Emperor? Yu Yi shook her head. No, from the comparison of strength, I am still not optimistic about you. However, we are willing to gamble, because this may be the only chance. Once you are defeated by the Devil Emperor, then, at least in the next few thousand years, mankind will not have any chance to counterattack. Moreover, the great prophecy of the Star Devil God Vashak predicted that the last time it was the only chance for the Devil Emperor to kill you. And if you didn't die that time, it will be an important turning point in the decline of the Devil clan. The great prophecy of the Star Devil has always been accurate, which is one of the reasons why we are willing to gamble. Hao Chen said, I need to see your sincerity. Yu Yi nodded and said, of course. The Devil Emperor has ordered that the undead devil god Samijina, the hell devil god Marbas, and the bear devil god Warlifer will command more than 30 devil gods and lead millions of elite troops gathered by the devil's tribe to attack the southeast fortress and Wan Shukwan respectively. In order to break through the obstacles of the fortress and to go deep inside the combat of human beings, they mainly want to plunder human beings and their property. At the same time, the god of devils ordered Po to be the vanguard, leading 20 anti-heavenly dragon clan's members on his way, while he himself is also on his way with most of the elites from the Moon Devil clan and Star Devil clan, as well as 20 devil gods and the whole anti-heavenly dragon clan. It is conservatively estimated that there are more than 200 people with above level 9 and about thousands of above level 8. In terms of time and Po's hatred for you, he will be here through Garohang province in half a day at most. And the main forces like the god of devils will come after him for about 4 hours. After listening to Yu Yi's words, all the people of the Light Dawn Demon Hunter group could not help but be moved. One was because Long Hao Chen just had the right guess about the god of devils dividing into 2 ways. The other was because of the terrifying power brought by the god of devils. More than 24 devil gods would fight against humans at the same time, which had not appeared for at least the last 1,000 years. What's more, among them are strong people from anti-heavenly dragon clan, the Moon Devil God and the Star Devil God. What a terrifying force it was to have 200 strong people above level 9. It was almost 10 times as much as they had now. The strength of the Devil's clan was clearly shown. They were even more surprised that Yu Yi did not hesitate to give them accurate information, especially the exact time when the enemy would arrive, which was very crucial for their next action. On the battlefield, in many cases, accurate military information was equivalent to a victory. Yu Yi didn't even talk about the terms or conditions, but she just said it. If what she said was true, even if the god of devils was powerful, they could always find a way to deal with it. However, to the surprise of everyone and Yu Yi, Long Hao Chen still looked calm and said, "I still don't see your sincerity." Yu Yi was stupefied at first, then said angrily, "What else do you want? Do you think I'm lying to you? I can guarantee with my life that everything I said is true. If you don't believe it, you can ban me until you confirm the information. If the information is false, you can do whatever you want." Long Hao Chen shook his head and said, "It's not that I don't believe your information. That was only information but not enough sincerity. You are an organization, not just you. I also believe that after so many years of development, the strength of your organization should be quite large. It should have a certain influence in the whole Devil's clan. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come to me so confidently, am I right? The sincerity I need to see is the sincerity of your organization, not just yourself. Therefore, I want to know who the real head of your organization is. If you will tell me, then I will believe you and our cooperation will be established." Long Hao Chen led the Legion of Sharp Knives into the territory of the Devil's clan, and the soldiers divided into 6 routes, which caused a heavy blow to the capital of the 6 northern provinces of the Devil's clan, but they did not kill too many devils. He just wanted to show it to Yu Yi's organization. He was waiting for them to contact him. It was just that he didn't expect Yu Yi that had been missing for long from the Devil's clan to come in person. After listening to Long Hao Chen's words, Yu Yi suddenly looked a little pale. She suddenly felt that the distance between herself and Long Hao Chen seemed to be farther away, which seemed like it was completely just for profit. Long Hao Chen looked at her with his calm eyes. A touch of sadness spread quietly inside her heart. Yes, there would not be any intersection between him and me. The relationship between him and me was always just for benefits. Yu Yi understood that although the previous death of Long Hao Chen was not caused by her, that incident also made Long Hao Chen and his team had a strong dissatisfaction with themselves. She was right. Long Hao Chen really did not blame her, and also knew that there was nothing wrong with her information. However, it was her information that put the entire Light Dawn Demon Hunter group in jeopardy. What really made Long Hao Chen feel bad about her was the pain that Kia endured at the Tower of Eternity in order to revive him. He often dreamed about it at night, and when Long Hao Chen recalled Kia's experience inside that Tower of Eternity, he was so distressed that he couldn't breathe. It was normal for him to vent his anger on Yu Yi, but instead, he was very rational. For the Temple Alliance to defeat the Devil's great plan, he did not blame Yu Yi. Looking at Yu Yi standing there meditating, Long Hao Chen was in no hurry. He had plenty of patience to wait. Yu Yi came in person, in fact, it was already full of sincerity. But for their organization, the biggest secret was undoubtedly who was the head of the organization. Yu Yi once revealed that it was a devil god. But the devil god was also very different. The devil god at the bottom of the list was not even as good as an adult devil dragon. The higher the ranking, the higher the status among the devils, which meant that Yu Yi's organization would be more powerful. Long Hao Chen was not sure whether Yu Yi would tell him. If Yu Yi still chose to not to tell, in the end, he would still also cooperate with her organization. And if Yu Yi were to tell him, then the relationship of cooperation would naturally be closer. Yu Yi contemplated for a while before looking up again at Long Hao Chen. She suddenly said, I can tell you, but I can only tell you. And you have to promise me that only you will know. You can't tell anyone, not even your best partner, not even your wife. As she spoke, she looked at Kia with a slightly provocative look. Kia responded to her eyes calmly, as if she didn't mind it at all. Well, I promise. Hao Chen nodded without any hesitation. The identity of the head of Yu Yi's organization was very important to him. It related to the series of arrangements he was going to make. Yu Yi walked slowly towards Hao Chen, and this time Yang Wenjiao did not stop her. She walked until she was only 3 meters away from Hao Chen, but she was still walking forward. Hao Chen could not help frowning and said, it should be no problem for you to transmit sound at this distance. Yu Yi shook her head and said, it's important. Your buddies all have good strength. I'm afraid they'll overhear me. With that, she had already arrived beside Hao Chen and leaned towards his ear. Although Hao Chen was a little embarrassed, it was of great importance, and he could not care for anything else. She exhaled some blue aura, and her body exuded a faint fragrance. It was perhaps from her running all the way here, so her fragrance was stronger than before. Hao Chen dodged a little, but Yu Yi immediately followed him, grabbed his arms with both hands, pulled his body lower, and whispered something in his ear. What? It's him? Hao Chen was taken aback when he heard Yu Yi's words. Just then, Yu Yi suddenly kissed his earlobe, and then quickly receded. She moved very fast, but how could Kia, who stood by watching her, and Hao Chen not see it? All of a sudden, she got furious and said, You. Yu Yi quickly retreated 10 meters away and said to Kia, what's the matter? You are going to occupy his whole life, and I've just kissed him. I like him. Kia's face suddenly darkened, and her sharp eyes tightened the heart of Yu Yi that she subconsciously took a few steps back. She clearly felt the strong sense of killing that burst out from Kia. Hao Chen had recovered from the shock at this time, and the earlobe was so crisp that he couldn't tell what it felt like. However, he didn't care about embarrassment at this time, because the answer given by Yu Yi just now was shocking. He naturally hugged Kia's slender waist and said to Yu Yi, you can go now. We will cooperate in an all-round way from now on. The first thing I need is for your organization to provide information. Not only to our side, but also to provide us with accurate information on the offensive of the Devil Army against Wan Shoguan and the Southeast Fortress. The promise I made at first counts that if we can defeat the Devils in the end, we will certainly leave you to organize a seaside province as a place to live, allowing you to self-govern within 500 years. It should be long enough for you to be fully assimilated. Yu Yi smiled and said, you believe me now, but how can I trust you for your promise? Kia couldn't hold it any longer, so she scolded angrily, Hao Chen is as good as his words, isn't that enough? Yu Yi ignored her and just looked at Hao Chen. Hao Chen said, what do you want? Yu Yi smiled and said, it's very simple. She pointed at her pink cheek and said, give me a kiss and I'll believe you. Kia's anger was about to break out, but she was tightly hugged by Hao Chen. Usually Kia was actually very calm, but Yu Yi's provocation this time had really touched the bottom line. She fully believed in Hao Chen, but Yu Yi's appearance was not under her level. It was Yu Yi's flirting with Hao Chen that made her angry. Hao Chen hugged Kia, and his eyes became cold and said, you can go. The cooperation is cancelled. Yu Yi was stupefied. Did you ignore the future of the Temple Union for her? You are not a qualified leader if you do so. Hao Chen said indifferently, I am even willing to give up my faith for the sake of Kia. Besides, without your organization, can't we still fight against the God of Devils? Cooperation should be of both parties' interests, and there is no commitment without cooperation. If you are willing to choose the road of destruction, I have no reason to stop it. Kia softened her taut body, lowered her head slightly, and took an apologetic look at Hao Chen. She no longer had the anger she had before. There was an obvious hint of disappointment in the eyes of Yu Yi, but the smile on her face was still there. Well, you are very affectionate about her. I was just kidding. I believe in your sincerity. I will hurry back immediately, and then our people will keep in touch with you. Be careful, Po's strength is very different from what he was before, and I heard that the God of Devils gave him some powerful weapon. With these words, she turned and drifted away and soon disappeared to the top of the side of the depression. What no one saw was that when she left, her beautiful eyes were already full of tears. Kia whispered in Hao Chen's ear, sorry, I shouldn't have. Hao Chen clasped her hand and said, what are you sorry for? The two looked at each other with a smile, and everything turned into a gentle breeze and rain, softening each other's hearts. Xu Yongxiao took a glance at Long Hao Chen and hummed coldly, "There are many temptations in this world, Xiao Long. You are in a high position, but you have to keep your heart. Kia, you have to keep an eye on it." Kia blushed slightly and said, "I trust him." Long Hao Chen coughed and said, "The news from Yu Yi is very timely. Our plan needs to be redeployed. Since Po and the vanguard are about to arrive, let's give him a head-on blow. The god of devils sent him to be in the vanguard, it was no doubt for the purpose to find our position. This war is inevitable and we have to buy enough time for Han Yu and others to retreat." Xiao Hua said, "The god of devils is not good this time, bringing the strongest elite of the devil's clan. More than 209th level strong fighters in the army, it is difficult for us to fight with our current strength. Should we call our companions back to Yulongguan?" Long Hao Chen shook his head and said, "No. Now the situation of the devil's army attacking Wan Shouguan and the southeast fortress has not yet been confirmed, so we cannot mess the plan from our side. First, we have to deal with the vanguard of Po, and then I must meet the god of devils first. Only by figuring out the real gap between me and the god of devils can the later plan be easier to make." He didn't say it clearly, but Xiao Hua could see that Long Hao Chen already had a plan, so he didn't say anything more. He just nodded and said, "Now we can only make the next step according to the situation." Po. Long Hao Chen's eyes flashed with cold light. He fought with Po twice, and the second time he remembered clearly. It was just in time for the awakening of Kia's spirit. He almost hurt Kia because of Po's attack, and himself was badly injured. If it wasn't for Yi Xiaolei, he didn't know what would happen in the end. But this time everything's different. The black figure drew a black ray in the air because the speed was too fast. Even if they had gone thousands of kilometers away, there was still a faint shadow in the air. Po's eyes narrowed slightly, and a flame was burning inside his chest. 5 years, it had been more than 5 years. He had been waiting for this day for too long. He put the god of devils' advice behind, and now he just wanted to have a hard fight with Long Hao Chen. He wanted to prove that he was stronger and better than Long Hao Chen. It was not only because Long Hao Chen had defeated him and brought shame upon him, but he also hated Long Hao Chen for making his soon-to-be wife, Hao Yu, break the promise of marriage. It could be said that Long Hao Chen was Po's most important enemy in his life. If he did not defeat Long Hao Chen, he would not be able to get over this hurdle inside his heart. A black figure suddenly flew from the front to meet Po and others. "Prince." When the two sides converged, the oncoming shadow suddenly paused, then went in the opposite direction. It caught up with Po and their team, and it did not slow down the speed of the whole team. "Is there any news?" Po asked in a cold voice. The black figure was a strong man in black, with purple-black eyes under his thick eyebrows, a man possibly in his 40s, dark skin and fleshy face. Compared with the Moon Devil's clan, the Anti-Heavenly Dragon's clan was more powerful, but when it came to appearance, they were not as good-looking as the Moon Devil's clan as a whole. According to the information we have received, Tianluo City, the capital of Tianluo province, was attacked just 3 hours ago. The capital was badly damaged. The granary got burned and many mineral resources were looted. I continued to follow for a while. About 10,000 human troops are marching northward quickly. It seems that they have a premonition that we will come, and they are trying to withdraw and return. Po's eyes gleamed fiercely, and with a big wave of his hand, he shouted, "You lead the way and chase them." Finally. Po clenched his fist hard. His eyes shone with cold light, as the target appeared. He seemed to feel that Long Hao Chen was close at hand. After 5 years of waiting, they were finally about to face each other again. Po was more or less nervous in the excitement, but his confidence in himself did not waver. Faith was the foundation of defeating an opponent. If one was timid before the fight, one would already lose half of the battle. The sky was getting dark at this time, and the evening glow left a touch of red in the air, and the afterglow of the setting sun looked gentle and peaceful, which sharply contrasted to the ferocity of Po's heart. Long Hao Chen. The name echoed constantly in Po's heart, and under his command, 20 members of Anti-Heavenly Dragon's clan speeded up in an all-round way and chased them to the north. The 20 people of the Anti-Heavenly Dragon clan generally looked between 30 and 40 years old, with grim faces, and most of them were ferocious, but there was a kind of strength coming out from the inside out vaguely. They were all members of the Black Dragon Guard of the God of Devils, and they were also the backbone of the Evil Dragon clan. This time, the God of Devils launched all the main forces of the Anti-Heavenly Dragon's clan in order to deal with Long Hao Chen. It might be because the individual's strength was so strong that it was very difficult for them to reproduce. There were only a little more than 100 people in total. In addition to the old and young from last year, there were about 80 or so adults in the anti-heavenly dragons clan, but the dragons had long lifespans, as long as 1,000 years. As a result, they lasted longer in their prime period. Despite the small number of people, every adult of the anti-heavenly dragons clan was 9th level strong, all of whom could be transformed into human beings. Coupled with the powerful nature of the anti-heavenly dragons, their extraterrestrial powers exceeded 100,000. On the battlefield, the Black Dragon Guard of the God of Devils was a symbol of invincibility. All of a sudden, Poe only felt as if his heartbeat missed a beat. That feeling was very strange. He subconsciously slowed down his speed. The Black Dragon Guards also slowed down. "Your Highness the Crown Prince, Huang Shuo, commander of the Black Dragon Guard," exclaimed in surprise. The God of Devils was well aware of the nature of his son's personality. With the increase of age, Poe had become more and more calm. However, this action was about Hao Chen, and it was difficult to say how his son would react. Therefore, God of Devils Feng Xiu specially dispatched Huang Shuo to go along with Poe, not only because Huang Shuo was strong, but more importantly because of his stable character and his assistance to Poe. Poe whispered, "My heartbeat has just changed." Huang Shuo was surprised as Poe inherited the blood of the anti-heavenly dragons clan. His heartbeat changing was a warning. "Stop." Huang Shuo raised his hand and slowed down with Poe. The anti-heavenly dragons that followed them also slowed down and stopped quickly. Poe's eyes narrowed slightly, and his mental strength was fully released at the same time, raising the perception to the strongest level. With the spread of his mental power, he carefully explored the surrounding situation. Despite his eagerness to fight a decisive battle with Hao Chen, Poe was after all the direct inheritor of the God of Devils and was born with strong dominance and wisdom. The appearance of warning signs also woke him up from his inner world. Huang Shuo came behind Poe and pressed his right hand behind him. All of a sudden, the mental fluctuations of the two strong men instantly merged into one and explored the past in a further range. However, they still did not feel any movement. "Did I think it was wrong?" Poe looked at Huang Shuo doubtfully. Huang Shuo said in a sinking voice, "It's better to be cautious. Everybody stays vigilant at all times." Also, at this time, suddenly, a black orb quietly drilled out from behind the anti-heavenly dragons clan. It was completely drilled out of the air. The black orb flashed away, and pierced straight into the back of the head of an anti-heavenly dragon. For the ordinary 9th level strong, they would perish without even making a sound, but after all, the anti-heavenly dragon was ranked first among the strong family of devils. The moment the Black Dragon Guard was stabbed in the back of the head, he screamed, and his body suddenly pounced forward at the same time. The force of darkness broke out in an all-round way. The black orb disappeared into the air again, as if it had never been there before. The sudden upheaval immediately made the atmosphere extremely tense. All the Black Dragon Guards immediately reacted and quickly formed a circle, putting the anti-heavenly dragons clan and Poe in the center. Everyone was facing outside. At the same time, the strong dark atmosphere broke out crazily again, and the area of hundreds of square meters turned black in an instant. Even the slightest fluctuation in space would not be able to escape their dark aura. Huang Shuo had caught the Black Dragon Guard who was attacked. The guard launched a counterattack immediately after being attacked, but the enemy's attack was too powerful. It was pierced from the lower part of the head and above the back of the neck. The head of the dragon was the hardest part of the body, only the bone behind the neck was slightly thinner, and the enemy was obviously well aware of this, so they chose to target this position. Huang Shuo just probed with his hand and felt that the attack had gone completely deep into the brain of this Black Dragon Guard. There was also a sticky aura of killing left on the edge of the wound, and there was no blood flowing out at all. This Black Dragon Guard was dead. Huang Shuo's face became extremely distorted. There were only a few dozen Black Dragon Guards under him, and each was a direct family and a real strong man. However, he died so inexplicably, no wonder he was in a bad mood. Since when do humans have such a powerful assassin? Poe's eyes shone cold, but he didn't get angry. However, there was still a chill on his back. Just now he and Huang Shuo tried their best to explore in all directions, and the enemy was only close at hand, but still could not be found. This assassin's strength was very terrifying. If he hadn't stopped in time and there weren't other Black Dragon Guards around him, maybe that blow would have fallen on him. Could I have avoided it? Poe could not give himself an affirmative answer. The purple-black light began to shine from his chest, and then a thick layer of scales began to spread, covering the whole body in an instant. The same thing occurred to the other Black Dragon Guards. It was just that the scales on Poe's body were much thicker than the black dragon guard, and with a pair of long horns bending and extending above his head. The aura was extremely strong. The assassin was able to strike a fatal blow at close range and get away without being detected by us. At least that assassin must be level 9 of rank 5 or above. But since when do humans have assassins of level 9 of rank 5? Huang Shuo said in a deep voice. His hands were trembling slightly because of his anger. If a member of the clan died, that was the 1% power of the anti-heavenly dragon's clan. What would the god of devils think of him? Po said, now is not the time to analyze whether mankind should be this strong. Our enemy has appeared, everyone be careful. At this time, the tension in his heart decreased a little bit, and with so many black dragon guards on the alert, even the god of devils could not touch him without being detected. Moreover, after the use of the dragon's torso armor, their defenses had been greatly increased. This dragon's torso armor was comparable to the defense of the best human artifact weapon. It was the most powerful self-defense ability of the anti-heavenly dragons. Huang Shuo first put the dead body of his people into a storage device, and then said quietly, the assassin has gone. One hit and escape, killed in a second, what a super assassin. Prince, I'm afraid we have a problem. I suggest we rest in place and wait for His Majesty's army to come. Otherwise, it is impossible for us to be vigilant all the time while moving forward, and once we give the enemy a chance, they will certainly do it again. Po shook his head and said, no, we are at the front. Without stopping Hao Chen, or even figured out their specific movements, and just stopped here. What's the use of asking us to be front? Just be careful and keep going. Huang Shuo also knew that it was really unlikely that he would be able to persuade Po to stay. But one of the clan's members was dead. If the assassin were to show up again and kill one or two more, the god of devils was bound to be enraged. Looking at Huang Shuo's face full of hesitation, Po frowned slightly. Commander Huang, are you afraid? Huang Shuo's eyes flashed with anger. Of course not. But Your Highness, every member of our people is the most precious asset for Your Majesty and your future. I don't want them to take the risk. Po snorted coldly, I know that a powerful assassin hidden in the dark is very dangerous. But if we become cowardly because of it, we will only fall into our enemy's trap. If I have guessed correctly, Hao Chen left the assassin here to delay our pursuit and give his subordinates a chance to escape calmly. Their attacks have reached the side of Qianluo province, so it can be seen that they have been in a state of fighting over the past few days, and the army has long been wounded and tired. We must not miss this opportunity. Moreover, the assassin has killed one of our people, and only by moving on can we draw him out and avenge our people. Huang Shuo frowned. I have reservations. Po said strongly, your duty is to assist me. Do not forget, I am the pioneer commander. Keep going and keep the dragon's torso armor defensive. As he spoke, he stepped out of the circle and continued to fly forward. Although Huang Shuo disagreed with Po, he had to lead the black dragon guards to follow him when he moved forward. All of a sudden, Po, who had just flown out of the sky, suddenly stopped in the air and looked ahead. Huang Shuo saw him stop and thought he felt the presence of the assassin again and hurriedly went to him. At the same time, a layer of dark light spread, making him and Po's position like a black hole. This was Huang Shuo's domain. Po was not attacked, but he only looked straight in one direction. Huang Shuo followed and his pupils suddenly contracted violently. In the distance, a white light spot was quietly suspended in mid-air. If one just looked at it randomly, it seemed like just a white spot. However, when one looked intently, it was a human being sitting on a chair. Before Huang Shuo opened his mouth, Po had already uttered a low roar. The next moment, the purple-black flame spurted behind him, and he rushed out thousands of meters away almost instantly. The figure suspended in midair was getting closer and closer. Dressed in a strong white suit, the handsome face was incomparable even to the moon devil god Agares. His hands were on the left and right armrests of the huge seat. Under the left hand was the bibcock, and under the right hand was the 12-winged angel. The glittering white light wrapped around him and the huge throne like a glittering white ball of light. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Hao Chen looked at the rapidly approaching Po and said with a smile. His voice was not loud, but every black dragon guard could hear it clearly. Po stopped when they were still 200 meters away from Hao Chen. His previous calmness was gone, and his fists clapped. His whole body's muscles and bones seemed to have enlarged. I haven't seen you for more than 5 years. How is His Royal Highness the Crown Prince? Long Hao Chen sat on the sealed divine throne of eternity and creation, and he had no intention of getting up at all. I'm fine. Many thanks to you. Poe's voice was cold and low, and behind him, the purple-black light surged and rose in the shape of a fan, which was his strong aura of war. Long Hao Chen smiled calmly and said, I know you were unconvinced when you lost to me last time. Well, I will convince you today. Poe said coldly, I don't understand why my father values you so much. But I'm sure he'll be happy if I take your corpse to see him. Long Hao Chen said, the god of devils has already killed me once. If you are really capable of doing that, then, please. Poe had a purple light in his eyes and was about to start, but he was stopped by Huang Shuo. Get out of the way. Poe shouted angrily. Huang Shuo sank. Your Highness. He is certainly not the only one here. Don't be fooled. We don't know where the assassin is hiding yet. We have to be careful. Your Majesty has said that when you meet Long Hao Chen, you don't have to fight him with all your strength. As long as you can hold him off, our task will be done. Get out of the way. Poe's cold voice sounded again, and this time, there was a terrifying pressure coming out from him, and the purple-black light behind him was completely condensed into a huge purple-black bibcock shape. Huang Shuo's face changed greatly and subconsciously stepped aside for a few minutes. Poe did not immediately rush towards Long Hao Chen. He looked coldly at what he regarded as the biggest opponent in his life and said in a deep voice, Long Hao Chen, I haven't seen you for 5 years. We meet again today. I know that you and your people of the Light Dawn Demon Hunter group must also be around. But this is a battle between you and me. Will you dare to accept my challenge? Long Hao Chen finally stood up from the sealed divine throne of eternity and creation and looked at Poe. He nodded earnestly. You're right, this is a battle between us. One-on-one. One-on-one. With a wild roar, Poe's body swelled instantly. In the blink of an eye, his height had jumped to 3 meters away. While his muscles swelled sharply, his dragon's torso armor also soared rapidly, with purple-black thorns constantly protruding from the joints. The double horns on the top of his head also had more than one circle of threads. A fuchsia glow appeared at Poe's feet, and his momentum rose to its peak in an instant. The powerful atmosphere made the Black Dragon Guard subconsciously retreat dozens of meters behind, and the aura of Poe, who belonged to the anti-heavenly dragons clan, was what they feared most. At this time, in the distant sky, one figure after another appeared from different directions. They were all more than a kilometer away. There were 9 people in total, surrounded far away facing this side. Huang Shuo saw Kia with the sickle of death in her hand at a glance. It was her? Was she the assassin just now? As the commander of the Black Dragon Guard, Huang Shuo was not only the most trusted member of the God of Devils, but also the strongest of the Black Dragon Guard. His perception was equally powerful, and as he looked around, he immediately felt who was the strongest in the Light Dawn Demon Hunter group. Kia's practice level was obviously not much weaker than his own. She might have broken through level 9 of rank 5, and she was also an assassin. 2 against 1. Go, go! Huang Shuo gave a low roar and gave the order to attack. The number of the Light Dawn Demon Hunter group had increased, but this had made Huang Shuo feel at ease. Long Hao Chen and his hunting group had been informed of the performance in the Devil's Clan. As a result, the Light Dawn Demon Hunter group was listed as the most dangerous opponent. Huang Shuo naturally knew them too. At this time, all the people of Light Dawn Demon Hunter group showed up, and Long Hao Chen said that he would certainly fight with His Royal Highness, so Huang Shuo did not want to miss the opportunity to deal with Light Dawn Demon Hunter group. However, for the sake of safety, he would not do it himself, and he was guarding Poe from afar. 18 Black Dragon Guards transferred into 18 Black Lights and jumped out in 9 directions at the same time. Their bodies were like electricity, and they were also growing huge in the wind, each with more weapons in their hands, and those were all epic dark equipment. 9 members of the Light Dawn Demon Hunter group turned around and ran away almost without hesitation. Instantly they went far away. Long Hao Chen. Huang Shuo was startled. Are they splitting themselves and fighting individually? However, in addition to Long Hao Chen in Yulongguan, only those sealed divine knights posed a threat to their own people. It was still a one-on-one situation. But they are all here? No, it's impossible. The Night Temple must be guarded by the sealed divine knights. Huang Shuo thought calmly and immediately changed the order and ordered all the Black Dragon Guards to maintain the pursuit in distance with their enemy. The pursuit range could not exceed 100 miles. As soon as they get attacked by a powerful enemy, they must send a signal for help immediately. Just as he was arranging this, suddenly Huang Shuo felt a chill behind him. He rushed forward almost without hesitation, while his body whirled rapidly in the air. Swinging his right hand, a black sword seemed to break the air and cut it behind him. A little bit of black orn also appeared quietly in mid-air, just above the tip of his knife. Huang Shuo trembled violently as if he had been struck by lightning. He only felt a cold aura pouring into his body and going along the long knife in his hand. Although his long knife was also a treasure which could filter out the cold, it was as if the real chill invaded his body and would break out in the next moment. Killing aura. There is an assassin who can force killing aura into my body. While Huang Shuo was stunned, his own domain was also fully deployed. As the strongest man in the Black Dragon Guard, he was unique in domain control. Instead of spreading his domain out, he instantly formed a black shield that enveloped himself. The black defense was like a black crystal eggshell, firmly protecting Huang Shuo inside. And that bit of black orn disappeared in the air again after the attack. A cold sweat ran down Huang Shuo's forehead. It was not Kia. The assassin just now was definitely not the one who led his own people away before. But he definitely killed one of his own people. Her assassination was so terrifying. Had it not been for Huang Shuo's instinctive reaction to run forward in the first place, he would have been secretly killed by the other side. Even so, his whole body was still ravaged crazily by the cold killing aura. Not only transferred from the long knife, but also from the back of the head. It was only after he released the domain that he felt a chill in the back of his head. Obviously, if he had moved slowly, he would have died. What frightened him the most was the mysteriousness of this assassin, who never stayed after the attack. The assassin did not continue to attack, and just disappeared in broken space. He had no idea of the location of the assassin. How could such an opponent not frighten him? For a moment, he could not think about other 18 Black Dragon Guards. He concentrated on feeling the subtle changes around him and constantly changing positions in the air. He was afraid that the assassin would strike again. No matter when, one's own life was still the most important thing. The battle between Hao Chen and Po started long before Huang Shuo got attacked. A purple sword appeared in Po's hand. His purple sword looked very special because its twinkling light was a gradual change of color that Hao Chen had never seen before. Gradual changes of the purple color. If the purple color changed from dark to light from the inside to the outside, it would not be that astonishing, but on the contrary, the color of the purple sword changed from light to deep from the inside to the outside. Therefore it was very eye-catching and intimidating. The purple giant sword, with a magnificent brilliance in the air, disappeared in the next moment. On the other hand, Po's body had already appeared behind Hao Chen. It was not until now that a series of sonorous sounds sounded in the air. What a fast speed! Hao Chen was taken aback. With the reminder from Yu Yi, his estimate of Po had been very high, but he still did not expect that Po's strength would be this strong. In the moment of flash, blue light spit out from Hao Chen's chest and soft green light directly sucked Hao Chen's lunar shield in front of his body. This blocked Po's attack. Otherwise, in the case of Hao Chen's lack of preparation, even if he could withstand this blow, he would have to suffer a small loss. The aura of the sealed divine throne of eternity and creation suddenly skyrocketed, which made Po stand still even when he was ready to return and launch an attack again after he had just completed a blow. Then, he saw that the integration between the 13 regiments of light and Hao Chen had been completed in an instant. The eternal armor. Hao Chen also had the sword of eternity in his hand. Green, colorful, clear and white, tricolor balls of light hovered slowly around his body. The bibcock and the 12 winged angels on the left and right shoulder of his eternal armor shone their eyes as if they were staring at Po. Is this the sealed divine throne of eternity and creation? Po asked coldly. Hao Chen nodded. It seems that you have improved a lot in the past few years. If I guess it right, your practice level has reached level 9 of rank 4. Moreover, the physical strength is also of the same level. Only you anti-heavenly dragon folks can reach this. This video will end here.